Hi, my name is Nicole Godellis. I'm a fourth year PhD student in molecular and integrative physiology.
Hi, I'm Sneha Das, and I'm a sixth year PhD student in microbiology.
I didn't realize that I had skills that I brought and that contributed to something. And I was like skills that I didn't know that I had.
Yeah.
So I basically went into this fellowship expecting me to learn from them. Me to just take okay, they're gonna show me this and this and this, and I'll gain so much, and be more well-rounded. And I didn't think that I would contribute much. I thought it'd be more of a teaching moment for me. And it was definitely a teaching moment. But I also realized that I contributed things, and I had different perspectives, and I had different skills that I brought. Even as simple as project management skills, which I now realize that I'm that's a good skill of mine. And I don't think I realized before. So I think these kind of untapped skills that we didn't think we had really came to the surface, at least for me, and I definitely saw for you as well. When I was going through the NSF opportunity and having to dig for kind of how to incorporate DEIA into an opportunity of this size, and also, how to sustain something of this size, I felt a little bit at home in a way of okay, I have a ton of papers to get through. How do I get through them? I can't read everything word for word. And so being able to kind of take a lot of information and slim it down to something to then present in a meeting.
I mean, for me, when I thought about non-academic careers, one of my biggest fears was, would I be able to use my training as a graduate student? And for some reason, I always thought that training meant me pipetting at the bench. And I probably don't have more skills than that. But I think while I was working on these projects, I realized I could use my analytical skill. I'm fairly good at making graphs in Excel, right? PowerPoint presentations, and like you mentioned, we are good at taking really dense information and then extracting what's important for that. And those are things I think I did not appreciate that I had. I always thought of I'm this person who pipettes.
Right.
But then I think I appreciated I'm much more than that. And indeed, some of these skills that we are learning can be translated. And I have suffered from imposter syndrome most of my grad school.
Me too.
And I think during this fellowship was the first time that I felt more confident in my ability, or that I'm good enough. I'm good enough. And it's okay to not know things. And we have so many people with PhDs who now have, I would say, accomplished careers.
Yeah, and they're satisfied in their positions.
Yeah, satisfied in their positions. It's nice to see that you could have that too. Something else that I noticed is many research development professionals have had non-linear career paths, and that's something that as academics you're not used to. Like for me, before I thought about pursuing non-academic careers, for me it was you do your undergrad, you do your grads. I did my master's, and then you go for a PhD, you do a postdoc, you become a professor, and it's just a linear track. And it was nice to see, and we also talked about it during our meeting, that it's not as linear outside of academia. You could go and explore science communication, and then maybe get back into doing some administrative work, or then you can again go back. So it was just nice to see that non-linear career paths are okay, and that the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, to go off of that a little bit, that was also something that we or I realized during our group meetings was that, oh, okay, when my PI is like, oh, Nicole, okay, where do you want to end up? And I'm like, I don't exactly know. But then I was like, it's fine that I don't know, because I'm going to go and I'm going to do something for a few years and then I can change. And I didn't realize that was okay. But then I think about all my friends who are in not an academic setting at all, who are in the business sector or sales or something like that. And they change jobs all the time. And that's part of how they go up the ladder. But it's also just how things work. And so being able, kind of being reassured that, hey, that's totally fine that, your job after your PhD is not going to be your dream job. That's okay.
I also found myself enjoying the projects. They were a tangible projects, you work on them. And we had projects of all time frames, right? We had really short ones, we had some medium ones, and we had some long-term projects, and we had collaborative projects. And it was just nice to see that something that you're working on has come to some sort of conclusion. Like the RDC Spotlight, right? We interviewed the research development professionals, and it's just nice to see that it's now on the website.
It's finished.
Yes, it's finished.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's something that is, I think, hard with scientific projects. It's because they're never done, right?
Yeah,
even when you're done and you submit a paper or it gets accepted, you're not done. There's always more to be done. So seeing something finish was something that I really hadn't fully experienced before. As surface level as it sounds, it'd be foreign to me. I'm like, how do I have a desk with not this incubator humming by my head and the pipes ticking in the ceiling and some timers going off all the time. And it's just a different kind of setting. So I think that was something that I really appreciated about this experience.
I have met more people during this fellowship than I have in my, I don't know how many years I've been here, but in the 5 years that I've been on campus. And it's just it's been eye-opening to just know that there are so many people. And I do think socialization is a big aspect of it. Often, depending on which academic unit or department you're at, you might not even know people from the neighboring or people down the corridor that well. And it felt like we were actively trying to get to know people who might be far off on campus, and we were actively trying to invite them and get to know them.
And also, and this is, I always say this, but the traditional office tasks that people do every day is something that we don't do every day in our labs. And so, having meetings on Teams or, sending Outlook invites for, this is my spiel, but sending Outlook invites for or emails, calendar invites. It's I didn't know how to do that before.
Yeah.
And it's probably silly, but, I asked Richard and I was like, Richard, did I do this right? Did you get my invite? And he was so helpful and he's so easy to joke around with that, he's laughing at me. But I was I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And so just those baseline skill levels that I feel if I did work in a setting like that, it wouldn't be overly foreign to me.
But for me, what was amazing to see, I was worried if I could transition from the lab to a non-lab work setting or a professional environment. And this experience just reassured me that I can fit right into an office environment and in a more professional setting, and I'm going to be fine.